We are recording, and welcome everybody to the intermediate 12:30 Wednesday class. We are working in book number 15 at the moment. I am open to suggestions for the next book, by the way. Look online at Hal Leonard, see what's there. Please do not try to get something where we do a lot of repetitious songs. Um, and send me some lists. I've had some people already send me some good stuff. So look through your collections, look online, give me some suggestions, because in a couple of weeks we're going to want to order a new book for this intermediate class, which, by the way, is going to stay an intermediate class. For those of you who want to push yourselves a little bit more, the intermediate advanced class meets every Friday at 11 o'clock. So that would, if you're starting to feel bored in this class, that's the class to move to. Or if you want to do both, you know you're very welcome to come to any and all of the classes that we offer. Okay, today we're doing Sweet Caroline. Wow, what an excellent song. It's become super popular due to the Boston Red Sox having adopted it as their number one song. There have been a couple of other sports teams that have adopted it. Um, Oh, okay. I'll say that at the end. This was written and performed by Mr. Neil Diamond, and it was released in May of 1969. Here comes Cheryl. We'll get her admitted. Now, in 2007, Diamond stated that the inspiration for this song was John F. Kennedy's daughter, Carolyn, who was only 11 years old at the time. All right. And then in 2014, he kind of changed his mind about it. And he said the song was really about his then wife, Marcia, but he needed a three-syllable name to fit the melody. And so John F. Kennedy's daughter kind of inspired him to do that. So that makes sense. It did reach number 4 on the Billboard Hot 100 and was certified gold for sales of 1 million singles in the year 1969. Wow. Must be nice to write a song and throw it out there and everybody loves it and becomes certified gold in the same year. Very cool. All right, now during COVID, it's really funny what he did. During this time of coronavirus, he changed some of the lyrics. So when you get to the part where hands touching hands, reaching out, okay, this is what he changed it to. Hands, washing hands, don't touch me, and I won't touch you. So you can change it around to the coronavirus song if you would like. And that's courtesy of Neil Diamond. He did that himself. Okay. So what kind of backgrounds did I use? Oh, somebody suggested yesterday that I just play the song first so that everybody knows exactly what it's supposed to sound like. That's a good idea. So I think I shall do that, even though I'm pretty sure everybody does know this song. We're just going to put it on song setup, and in a lot of your instruments, there is a signature background called Sweet Carolina. So if that's what you have, this is the very perfect background for this. Fade it out. Okay. All right. Now I wasn't too crazy about that clarinet on top. I think if I pulled that one up, Genevieve's coming in. I think I might actually change that sound. As you can see, I was trying to change octaves to make it fit better. I put in my backgrounds very quickly this morning because I had other things that I was doing. So that's what song setup came up on this Rialto. I think the clarinet, like I said, I would have changed that. This down here was a flugelhorn saxophone combination, which was very nice. I liked that very much. But this I might have changed to a country guitar, believe it or not. I think that would have sounded a little bit better. Well, what other kinds of backgrounds would work on that? If you don't have the Sweet Caroline, you can use things like Gypsy Rag. Now, what kind of a speed am I at? 125. That's pretty good for this. Um, Swing time. If you're on a Freedom 3, the standard swing time is very good. Basic country actually works just fine on this. Oops, somebody else coming in, Miss Phyllis. Traditional on the easies, 2-beat piano is perfect. Guitar swing is very good, those of you that have that. Mix on the easy 10s, easy 4s. Mix guitarist, which is a shuffle, actually works pretty well. Or what you can do is pop full band, which is a pop shuffle. And you can also do Frank and the Count, which is a standard, but what I would do is lower the volume of the style. So this is one that you're going to want to go to YouTube, and I know we talked about this in this morning's class. You go to YouTube and listen to the original, or if there are several singers or artists, choose the one that you're the most used to listening to, or the one that you like listening to. And what you're listening for are a couple of things. You're listening for tempo. How fast is it going? So once you get that tempo, go to your organ, pick any background, and just get that tempo right. Once you have the tempo right, then you can lock your tempo in. Then go back to your YouTube and figure out what's the bass player doing? What's the bass player doing? What's the drummer doing? So now you can come back to your instrument and you can try to find which one of these music styles is going to have that bass player be the closest to what you want it to sound like, or what the original sounded like. Which one has the best drummer to make it sound the best for you? And in some cases, there's going to be 5 or 6 of them that work very well for that particular song. So just take your pencil and put them in. So what are you actually doing when you do that? You are getting to know your instrument. You're getting to know your instrument. But you're also looking for the perfect background for the song that you've chosen. Always work left to right. Once you have the rhythm chosen, then you can go to your setups or your presets, which are right here. See what's in there and see if there's so many of them in your rhythm presets that there should be something that you really think is going to work. Now, if you know that you want one of the nostalgia horns or one of the country guitars, go to your category setups and pick one from there. And that's usually a good place to go as well. Category setups. Don't go messing around up here. Why? Because that's the hardest part of the instrument to get right. That's why your presets are already using everything that's up here. Now, we can go into that on a different day. As a matter of fact, product workshop classes are designed to get you to use some of those things so you understand what those are about. That is the hardest part of the instrument. Stick with your presets as much as possible. If you don't like any of the rhythm presets, then go to your category setups. When you find a recipe that works for you, pencil it in. Now, if you're lucky enough to have an instrument where you can actually memorize, then you memorize what you just did. Memorize A1 with style, with transpose. That transpose doesn't really matter unless you're singing the song or you've changed it for a horn. But I always hit yes anyway just because I just do that. And then touch your memorize button again. It turns it off so that now you have everything memorized in the way that you liked it today. Because guess what? Tomorrow you might listen to it again and say, didn't really like it this time. Yep. And so don't erase the one you did, just work on something different. Or take the one that you did and tweak it a little bit and resave it in a different slot. Because you might actually go back and say, well, that first one was actually not so bad. So that's why memorizing your presets is a wonderful thing. You can feel differently about them from one day to the next, and it'll allow you to try other things. I also tried this on those of you that have Ringo's Sub, which is in rock and roll, with the alter style. That works very well. Or East Coast Swing Jive. Those of you that have that one and you always wondered, what am I going to use that one for? Slow it down to 125 and give that one a try as well, because that one actually comes out to this kind of a background. And it's not bad. It's not perfect. But it works. It works. So you're going to find 5 or 6 of them for this song that will work, and different days you're going to feel differently about them all. And I will give you a flavor of all of them a little bit later. But what's the hardest part of this song? The road map, would you say? Road map. You're going to need lots and lots of markers. Get your crayons out, because following the colors is the easiest way to do this. And if you follow the lyrics, it will take you exactly where you're going. So let's do the road map first. All right. First verse. Where it began, I can't begin to knowin', but then I know it's growing strong. First ending. At the end of the first ending, you have some repeat dots. Make that a color. Put a little highlighter there. I made mine yellow. Where's that going back to?
The beginning.
The beginning. There are no dots going this way, so it just automatically goes back to the beginning. They did that to save ink. Heaven forbid they would put a little bit of ink to make 2 dots and a thin line.
No kidding, right?
Yep. So there's no dots there. You go back to the beginning. Now you're going to do verse 2. Was in the spring, and spring became the summer. Who'd have believed you'd come along? All right, so now you're going to the second ending. So what I did is I put a purple 2 at the end of the line and an arrow and traced the 2 in the second ending, so that I knew the second time you're going from here to here. And that just gives you an idea of following the roadmap. Now you go on, continue. There's nothing that says go back to anything right now. Hands, touching hands, reaching out, and where are we going? Turn the page. Touching me, touching you. Then we go to the chorus. The chorus actually starts the second line of the second page. Sweet Caroline, good times never seem so good. I've been inclined to believe they never would, but now There's nothing telling you to go backwards yet, even though you see some symbols. Everything is sending you forward. Codas always send you forward, and dots always facing that way always send you forward. So we're going to continue. Look at the night, and it don't seem so lonely. We fill it up with only 2. At the top of that last page, you have another first ending. Okay, and at the end of that first ending, you have dots facing backwards. Make that a different color. I made mine green. You can use whatever color you want. Where are those dots going back to? The beginning? No, not the beginning. You have to trace back to the immediate dots that are facing forward, which happens to be the 4th line of the last page here, page 92, the 4th page, the 4th line, the 3rd measure. There you see those 2 lines and the dots facing forward. So green goes over here and green goes over here. The end of the first ending, back to the dots. Now we're going to do the second part. And when I hurtin' runs off my shoulder. How can I hurt when holding you? Now I put a little purple 2. If you want to put an arrow, go ahead. I didn't, but I just traced the 2 in the second ending the same color. So a little 2 here means the second time, find the same color 2 at the top of the page. That goes for 2 measures. Oh, this is a booger of a road map. It really is.
It is.
At the end of those two measures, you have two thin lines. Two thin lines always mean the end of a section, and then it absolutely tells you what to do from there. DS al coda. Dal segno al coda. Go back to the silly sign. So now get a different color. I used blue. You can use whatever you want. And I made blue on the end of the line. And now I'm looking for the silly sign. The silly sign is back on page 1, where you start hands touching hands. It looks like that crazy little price tag thing with the dots and the line. Make that blue or whatever color you're using, and that way you know to come back to your hands touching hands. All right, now we're going to keep going forward. Hands touching hands, reaching out, touching me, touching you. By the way, what are we looking for?
The end. Coda.
We're looking for the two coda. Codas always send you forward. So we're looking for the two coda. So on line 4, at the end of the second measure, there you have little tiny two coda, and you've got that little periscope sign, the circle with the cross in it. Make that a different color. I made mine fuchsia. Make sure you have a fuchsia in your crayon box. Yes. And then 2 coda sends you forward to the second line on page 93, which says coda, and there you've got that periscope again, the little circle with the cross in it. So now your color tells you go from here forward to here. Codas never go backwards. You only go forwards with codas. By the way, coda means in Italian tail. Tail is the tail end, meaning the final ending. The final ending. And then finish your song. Oops, I have more. This is crazy. Yep. When you get to the 4th line, it says if you've got a thick line, a thin line, and 2 dots. Now they're facing forward. So if they're facing forward, you ignore them the first time. Sweet Caroline, good times never seem so good, so good, so good, so good. And then you have 2 dots, a thin line, and a thick line. Aha. So I used dark green. You better find some dark green there, or whatever color you want. And that, you're going to make that the color. And where's it going back to? Just back up to that second to the last line. So you're going to repeat Sweet Caroline, good times never seem so good, and fade it out. You can play it as many times as you want, that little area, and just fade it out. Okay, how do you fade out? How?
Fade out button.
Fade out button. Some of you have a fade out button. Some of you have 2 introductions and endings, and then it'll be connected with a bracket that says fade in the middle. Or sometimes it's the intro, ending, and the start, stop, and they're connected with some writing that says fade. Okay, some of you have a fade out button that's way over here. Some of you have a fade out button that's here. So your homework is to find where is my fade out button. Okay, what does a fade out button actually do? It's actually going to do something like this. I'm not going to do anything with my feet or hands. I'm just going to touch those 2 at the same time. And you see what happens. The sound goes away. The sound goes away. I'm not doing anything with my feet. That's kind of nice because while you're doing that, while it's fading out, you could still be playing. And it'll just take it down to 0. So just keep playing what you're supposed to play. Now, what if you don't have a fade out button? Some of you don't have one. Now what do we do?
Gas pedal.
Gas pedal, absolutely. You've got a gas pedal. That's what your foot is for. It's actually called an expression pedal, but gas pedal is a very good thing to call it. Was what you're going to do is just bring your foot slowly back, 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 back. Now, if you get all the way back and you're still hearing things, you can take your hand, play a chord, take your hand all the way over to the master volume, find where that is, and just bring your master volume down to 0, and then hit stop. If you don't hit stop, it's still going, and when you put your master button back up, it's going to come right back in. So make sure that once you get it down to 0, you reach over and hit stop. So there's quite a bit more involved. All right, that being said, here's your commercial for the day. For those of you that would like to have a fade out button or buttons, email me after the class and I will be more than happy to tell you what the next instrument is for you so you can have a fade out feature. There's your commercial for the day. All right. Any questions at this point?
That's tricky.
Yes,
Are you
this
going to give us the extra notes you played?
I most certainly will. Absolutely, Claire. With pleasure. Now, are there any chord changes? That's the first thing. Let's see if there's any chord changes. First page, no. Second page, no. Although on page 92, fourth line, second measure, you have a G chord, and then above that you have an E minor and a D minor right next to it. Do you see it?
Uh-huh.
They're not in boxes. I want you to cross out the G and put a box around the E minor and the D minor. It will sound much better. But those are the only chord changes that I have for you. Yeah, there's enough problems going on with this song.
Yeah.
Okay, extra notes. If you do not have the Sweet Caroline background, the music style that gives you all this wonderful stuff, like at the beginning. Oh, come on, let's go. I don't need the intro, I just need measure 1 and measure 2. Did you hear that? Bum, bum, bum. What if you don't have this background? If you want to put them in, you're going to have to write them in. What are the notes? The notes are, and you can write them high or you can write them on the staff wherever it's comfortable for you.
Dawn, what page are you on?
Go ahead. I'm on the first page.
Okay.
Second measure, where it began, da 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 da. And you can skip the fourth note. You don't need that one. But what I did is I did a G, and you can do the same G, the first G of over the staff, up to a C, back down to a G, and if you want, you can put an F in the next measure. Like, oh, let's get that in there. That. G, C, G, A. Da, 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 da. The A you can actually skip and just do G, C, G. Okay? Now, where else is that going to be? Wherever you feel like it. Actually, page 92, fourth line, last measure. Look at the night. Look at the night, da, 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 da. You're going to do again, G, C, G. And if you wish, you can put the A on the first measure of line 5. So right there. And then if you wish, you can put that A in the first measure of the next line. Okay, where else are we going to do that? Those are the only two places to do that. What other things did you hear? Well, you have to play. Those notes you got to have. Okay, now I suggest you go to the lower keyboard to do that. The first time you do it is page 92, second line, second measure. Sweet. F, E, A. F you can write on the top line. The E you can write on the top space. And then the A is going to be the second space, but do that in the next measure. So your timing is actually going to be 3, 4, 1. F, E, and then the A is in the next measure. And see where I wrote lower. That means I'm going to take my hand and put it in the lower keyboard and play F, E, A. Got it?
Got it.
Now, where else are you going to do that? You're going to do that in line 3, right after I've been inclined. Same exact thing. The F goes on the top line, beat 3. The E goes in the top space, and the A goes in the second space, and you're going to write lower. F, E, A. All right? Where else are you going to do that? The end of the song. Page 93, fourth line, right after you do Sweet Caroline. And it's going to split so that you're going to have the F and the E right after Sweet Caroline, F, E, and then the last line, A. That's always the first beat of the next measure. F, E, A. Okay, it's the same 3 notes every time.
Mhm.
Got it?
Mhm.
Now I also did a couple of other things. I did some of these. Lead-in notes. I want to get off of this one. And I threw those in if I'm not using a background that does it for me. If you are on the Sweet Caroline background, it will do those notes automatically for you. So if I'm doing touchin' me, touchin' you, let's go to the top of page 92. Nope, I don't want that. Touchin' me. Come on. Oops, I forgot to put this on my pedal magic. Woo! All right, Phil is now on my foot. Hear those? They're in the fill. It's in the fill. Let's do that again. Come on, why did it? No, I don't need all that. Oh, I know why. There it is. Because when I went back to it, it took my pedal magic off because I didn't save it up. Gotta get Linda back in. There she goes. So what those notes actually are a B, a C, and a D. B on the middle line. And where would you put it? Top of page 92, last measure. Touchin' me, touchin' you. And right before you go into the Sweet Caroline, you're going to do some lead-ins. Where am I? I'm right here. B, C, D. Now those are completely optional. That's why I'm doing them last.
Can you use an FX instead?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And if you have the Sweet Caroline background, it's going to put those in for you automatically. If you don't have that background, you might want to throw them in. All right, the other place to put those is page 92, third line, first measure. The B, C, D in the first measure, leading up to the E. And I think I did that in one other place. Nope, that might be it. Yep, I think that's it. Okay. So those would be, the B, C, D would be the ones that I would leave out. Yeah, putting in an FX or a fill-in is going to be absolutely perfect for that spot. Oh, I know where else I used it. The very end of the song. Going back to the Sweet Caroline, at the very end of the song, I did that right here. But those are optional. But the ones I would absolutely put in are these. F-E-A. You got to have the F-E-A's in there because that's going to make it really pop for you, no matter which background you're using. The hardest part of the song, the road map. Absolutely. Okay, let's try some fingering, then we'll play it again. And if you want to play it along with me, please feel free to do so that you can get the right road map. That is the most important part of the song. All right, how did I do this? Let's do, if you're going to do the, all right, you're going to do this. E1, F2, G3, G3. Then the notes that you wrote in are going to be G3, C5, G3, A4. D1, E2, F3. Second line, F3, F3, E2, D1, check mark. C3, D4, E5, 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 D4, C3, first ending G1, second ending D4, fourth line G1, A2, 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 B3, 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 turn the page, touch on me, C4, 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 D5, D5. Now, if you're doing the BCD, I used 2, 3, and 4.
Mhm.
E5, second line, E5, G1, A2, A2. I used fingers F, E, A, F5, E4, A1. Remember, you're going to the lower keyboard to get those. Then you might want to put a little U over that next A because you want to go back to the upper keyboard. A1, F5, F5, E4, D3, C2, G1. If you're doing the BCD, it's 2, 3, 4. Those are the lead-in notes to the E. E is 5. G1, A2, A2. The FEA is F5, E4, A1. And make sure you put lower keyboard over that. Then you want to go back to the upper keyboard. A1, F5, F5, E4, D3, C2, D3, C2, G1, F2 with a circle across it over. Check mark if you wish, because you're going to have to lift your hand. E1, F2, G3, G3. If you're doing the G, C, G, A, your fingers are G3, C5, G3, A4. Bottom line, D1, E2, F3, 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 E2, D1, check mark. C3, D4, E5, 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 D4, C3, top of the next page, first ending, G1, second ending, D4. Now, Sue Kelly, I don't think you have this part in the song, in the version that I gave you.
Right.
So if you need it, you've got your book in front of you now.
Yeah.
D1, E2, F3, D1, E2, F3, E2, D1,
Mhm.
F3, E2, D1, F2, G3, A4, F2, G3, the next line A4, G3, F2, A4, G3, F2, A1, circle it if you wish, because you want to get that thumb tucked under, B1, C3, A1, B2, C3, B2. Next line, E5, D4. Now we come to the ending. E5, G1, A2, A2. Here comes your FEA, F5, E4, A1. That's your lower keyboard. Put a little U to get you back to the upper keyboard. A1, F5, F5, E4, D3, C2, G1. And if you wanted to put the B, C, D, your lead-in notes would be B2, C3, D4. That leads back up to the 5 on the E.
Mhm.
Okay. Did I lose anybody? Any questions?
No.
Got it? Okay, you guys are good. You're better than the advanced classes. Oops, I didn't say that.
Dawn,
Yes.
Dawn, could you repeat the fingering on the third line, the second measure, second and third measure?
Which page?
The last page.
Last page, third line, second and third measure. A1, B2, C3, A1, B2, C3, B2.
Thank you.
You are very welcome. Okay. If you are close to your instrument, we're going to try playing this. Let's see, do I want gypsy rag or guitar swing? Let's do guitar swing just to make this completely different. Now just put it on easy only. Make sure you are muted so you play along. Oh, you'll be able to hear me and you'll be able to hear yourself. This is a little jazzy. I'm not sure I like that one. This one's not bad. This is Frank and the Count with the style lowered. One, let's make it slower. We got to play all together. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, rest, rest. First ending, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3. Back to the beginning. Second ending, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, rest. 1, 2, 3, 4, rest. 1, 2, 3, 4, rest. 2, 3, 4, 1. Keep going. First ending, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, go back to the dots. Second ending, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, back to the silly sign. Hold, 2, 3, 4, rest. 2, 3, 4, rest. 2, 3, 4, rest. Two, 3, Go to the coda. Hit your fade out button. And keep playing. Okay. Could you follow along? All right, if you use your lyrics, it will take you exactly where you need to go. Now, what happens if you're playing along and you went back too far? Oh, well, just keep playing. No worries. It's your song. If you make a mistake, don't say, oops, I made a mistake, and go back to the beginning. Just keep going. You went back to the wrong place. Oh, well, just keep playing. Next time, just kind of remember, don't go back that far. It's okay. It's your song. You can do whatever you want with it. Any questions about what we did today?
That was a lot.
It was a lot. Yes, it was. I know this is an intermediate class, but there weren't any new chords for you to handle. And the extra notes are always optional. Optional. But I will say this. If you can get the FA, the FEA, that's going to put in the extra stuff for you. The rest of the extra notes, skip them. Don't worry about them.
Dawn,
Yeah.
at the top of the third page at 93.
Uh-huh.
93. Okay, you're going back to page 1 at the very bottom, right?
Yeah, where it has the silly sign, yes.
Yeah, okay, just
Yep.
because I got lost there for a moment.
Yeah, that is the spot where most people will get lost because you're going, where the heck is my silly sign?
Yeah, where'd you go?
So
Okay.
if you make, I highly recommend on a song like this, make a copy of the odd page. The odd page here is page 1. Make a copy of it and have it next to you here so that when you go back, you don't have to turn the page back and figure
Yeah.
out where you are. Your eye will take you, I have blue up there. Blue takes me back to blue on the first page. And it's a lot easier to see if you have everything all spread out. So that's my suggestion of the day, so that you don't have to flip your pages back and forth and maybe rip off a corner or flip too many pages at a time. You know, just make a copy of that odd page so you have 3 pages in front of you. It's going to make life very easy.
Thank
If
you.
you love the song, you will find something with something good, some background and some good sounds to play. If you don't love the song because you hate the Boston Red Sox or whatever else you're reasoning, don't play it. Absolutely, no worries. Only play the songs that make you happy. All right, this Friday, do not forget, we are having our Halloween party, and if I have to come in costume, you are coming in costume, because I know they're going to want to do a lot of screenshots for all our customers, and if you've got a costume on, that's going to take the camera, whoop, right to you, and they're going to do some screenshots, so put on your best scary outfit. And we're going to have some good songs. The other artists are playing some excellent songs. So we're going to have a really nice time. I'm going to do Black Magic Woman and Witchy Woman. So, yeah, we're going to have
Are you still having class at
Yes,
11
ma'am.
o'clock?
Yes, ma'am. We are still having class. Now, I won't be in costume for class at 11.
Okay, thanks.
But I have to go to hair and makeup in between. Yes.
Carol Swift has to bring her cackling.
I thought about that. Since we're
Did she
doing
stop or did she go away?
Yeah, Black Magic Woman and Witchy Woman, she's going to have to do the intro.
Yes.
I think that's a fabulous idea. Anybody who knows Carol, she has the world's very scariest witch cackle. Yeah, so if anybody sees her, make sure that you tell her, Dawn